Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is your host Ben, and today I wanted to actually bring you the gaming aspect of my channel finally. I wanted to actually give you a demonstration of a couple of games that I've actually gotten onto my PC. I've got a plethora of games that I've just collected, and I wanted to actually give you guys a demonstration of actual live gameplay footage on my system, and just basically show you how my system runs the games that I've actually purchased. Some are new AAA titles from, you know, the modern day from 2016. We've just entered 2017, so happy new year guys. And a couple of games are also from further back as well, so just mixing in with a crossover of previous gen to current gen. But without further ado, hit the like button if you actually enjoy content like this, and I'll be hoping to be doing more of this for you. But without further ado, what I wanted to show you guys is my system specifications and actually what I'm running on my system for my live gameplay footage. So from the processor, I've got the Core i7 4790K. Now this is the Haswell refresh on the Devil's Canyon platform on a 22nm process. So I've actually overclocked this to 4.5 GHz, as you can see in CPU Z, by increasing the multiplier to 45. It's on a V-core of 1.28. I can actually put it to 4.7 gigahertz stable, but the only problem I have is my cooling solution is not sufficient enough to give me the temperatures that I like, so I've downclocked it down to 4.5, which is still more than high enough. In terms of memory as well, I've got 32 gigabytes of dual channel memory, and this is running at 1866 megahertz, an XMP profile in the BIOS. So it's running at really fast memory for DDR3. You could get faster, but it just depends on what resolution and what games you utilize it in terms of memory speed, but this should be more than sufficient in terms of amount to speed. So that's what I have in there as well. For my motherboard, I am on the Z97 platform. I've got a Gigabyte motherboard, and the model I have is the Z97X UD3H. That's the ultra durable 3. This is the revision 1 motherboard, and I've updated the BIOS to the latest version, which is F9. And so the BIOS is updated, which is going to really help with the, you know, CPU compatibility and also the stability of the overclock that I've put on there. And also the holy grail of what I'm running in terms of my graphics chip is the Nvidia GTX 1080. So this is on the Pascal architecture, the 60nm TSMC FinFET process. I've got the Founders Edition, and as you can see to my left, I've got MSI Afterburner, which is also a very good system analyzing tool, as well as an overclocking tool for your graphics card. I've actually increased the power limit to 120%, which is maximum what it would give me. The temperature limit is actually being increased to 92 degrees Celsius, and I've also dialed an overclock on the core frequency as well, which is an extra 200 megahertz on the core, and also the memory frequency, which is something that I've actually increased with an extra 500 megahertz, which in total gives probably about 11 gigabits per second in terms of memory bandwidth, which is really high. Now I've got a 1080p monitor, slightly higher than 1080p monitor, but give or take is 1080p. So the high memory bandwidth might not necessarily help at the lower resolutions, but when we do things like dynamic super resolution, which I've actually scaled up and put the factors in, the higher resolution scalings that is being used could actually really help with the extra memory bandwidth, as well. As you can see, with the higher resolution, the more memory bandwidth you have, depending on what game you're using, could come in real handy. So that's something that's really interesting. Well, I'll be demonstrating how DSR works as well in the future. But yeah, without further ado, what I really wanted to show you guys today was Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Now this is a game that is published by EA, developed by DICE, and is run on the Frostbite 3 engine. Now I'm inclined to actually say that the Frostbite 3 engine is pretty much equivalent in terms of aesthetics and just graphical looks to what the Unreal Engine 3 was when it first came out in its generation. I'm sure you guys remember games like Gears of War 1, 2, 3. This really showcased the power of the Unreal Engine, and I feel like the Frostbite 3 engine has become the engine of this generation in terms of how it pushes the graphics dynamics. And I have to admit, Mirror's Edge Catalyst is a game that's really impressed me in terms of the looks, and I really want to actually demonstrate to you guys, because I really enjoy the look of this game. I'm still getting the hang of the gameplay, but I'm really enjoying the look of this game. It's really good. But on screen now, I've got Mirror's Edge Catalyst loaded up. I've played a bit of the game. On the top right, you can see that I'm running an MSI Afterburner, which shows you the statistics of what the actual system is running as well. On the far bottom, on the far top left, I've actually got fraps running, just in case it's easy for you to just look at one single metric, which is frames per second, FPS. But on the MSI Afterburner, I do have the FPS running at the top. For the GTX 1080, that's the graphics card I'm running. It shows you the GPU utilization in percentage, the GPU temperature, and also the core frequency as well. Below that, it's got the GPU memory frequency, and you've got the VRAM utilization out of the 8 gigabytes, how much is being used on the chip. You've got your CPU temperature, and also you've got the model of the CPU, which I'm running as stated before, which is the Core i7-4790K, overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz. Shows you the utilization of that CPU in terms of percentage. Last but not least is the RAM usage as well, the actual system RAM usage. Out of the 32 gigabytes, how much is being utilized from total system plus game put into one. So what I also wanted to do was go through the settings for you. Now I am using an Xbox One controller on a wireless configuration, so do forgive me, it's not on keyboard and mouse. I just want to make this nice and easy for you guys when I'm demonstrating it. We'll go into video. We've got the brightness setting, we've got field of view. Now field of view, I've set it to 80. It does go all the way up to 90, but I do feel like all the way up to 90 does give a very distorted image, and there's a lot more aliasing than I would like, so I keep it to 80. Now VSync, vertical sync, it's off for the meantime, so we can get a correct indicative representation of what actual FPS is on the screen. There is a lot more graphics headroom that I have at this resolution, so sometimes I keep it on to stop with all the screen tearing, which can be very distracting for me personally. So I might in the future look to get an adaptive sync monitor, something with G-Sync, because I am running an Nvidia GPU. I've got a single monitor that I'm running. So the resolution, so again, like I said, the resolution of my monitor is a bit strange. It is still a 16:9 aspect ratio monitor and resolution, but it is running natively at 2048 by 1152, as you can see, at 60 hertz. I have panel overclocked this before, and it goes all the way up to 63 hertz. Any more distortion, it doesn't actually boot up. But probably for the sake of it, as you can see, dynamic super resolution is in scale. It goes all the way up to true 4K, which is 4096 by 2304. But I think I'll probably play in 1080p for the sake of standardizing the test for you guys on resolutions that you're familiar with. So I'll put it down to 1080p. Full screen mode, the game has its own built-in resolution scale, which pretty much works the same as dynamic super resolution, where it's giving you more pixels, super sampling it down to the native resolution of your panel. But I will just be playing it at 1080p, no resolution scale needed. GPU memory restriction, we've got more than enough frame buffer, so we've de-restricted it so there's no slowdowns. As the memory is choked, it will not be. As you can see in MSI Afterburner, it's hovering around 5 gigabytes of VRAM usage. So yeah, in terms of custom resolution, I've put that at 1080p. In terms of custom quality, we've put the texture quality all the way to the maximum settings. Now it's questionable to see if it's actually beneficial to play in hyper settings, but in hyper, that's where we're gonna go, all the way up in terms of playing it at 1080p on the GTX 1080 as well. No pun intended. We've got texture quality in hyper, we've got lighting quality in hyper as well, we've got the reflection quality in hyper, we've got the effects quality in hyper as well, post-processing quality in hyper, we've also got the mesh quality in hyper, and we've got the anisotropic filtering in times 16x. We've got the ambient occlusion in horizon based, so that's HBAO rather than screen space, which is SSAO. So we're going for the maximum ambient occlusion quality as well. Motion blur, now motion blur is something that is a bit of a, you know, it's an interesting setting. I'll keep it on for the sake of everything being on the same hyper settings. So I've run through all the settings, so without further ado, I'm just going to begin some gameplay, and we're just going to analyze where in terms of the frame rate is at 1080p. So yeah, settings, we're going to keep the settings, we're going to go back, we're going to resume the game, and here is Mirror's Edge Catalyst. So right now it's hovering around 100 frames a second, which is really impressive. So this is Mirror's Edge Catalyst. So getting around 96 frames a second, 100 frames a second. So this is an indoor scene. So as I'll prefer to call it, this is more of the overkill setting. Whether visually the return in investment in terms of pushing it all the way to hyper is something that you're going to notice is really down to a couple of things that I like to really state in terms of whether you've got a good eye, the type of screen that you're using, the resolution that you're running at as well as, you know, just, you know, if you can actually see the benefit of that. Oh, I died, unfortunately. But yeah, just for the sake of the fact that we've got a really powerful GPU, in terms of the graphics headroom at 1080p, we really wanted to push at the maximum, see how much VRAM is using, see how much the performance headroom you have, and actually what you're gaining in terms of frames per second. So yeah, it's quite interesting. And yeah, I have to admit that the Frostbite 3 engine is absolutely gorgeous. The lighting, the texture quality, the reflections, so many different things about this engine has really impressed me. And yeah, this is Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Made the jump finally. So this is more of an outdoor scene now, so you can really see in terms of global illumination, lighting, ambient occlusion, how the game really looks, draw distance. It's really fantastic. So currently hovering around 100 frames a second. GPU utilization is around 92 to 99, sometimes peaking at 100. You know, the core is hovering at 2 gigahertz, 2000 megahertz. Yeah, the game is running really nice at hyper settings at 1080p. If we dial it down to ultra, I'm sure this engine scales really well. So yeah, this is really impressive stuff that I'm seeing so far. So yeah, this is Mirror's Edge Catalyst outdoors. Really enjoying the look of this game.
I'm gonna do a quick delivery, so I'll catch up with you later, Noah. Sounds good, Icarus. We still have a game to finish. Get closer to the marks fade. Just follow them home. And then we should see about...
So this is just a quick run of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I really wanted to just show you guys and showcase the look of this game. See if you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you actually liked more of what you saw, and if you enjoy footage like this, I'm hoping to be bringing more of this for you guys to be able to enjoy, because I really do enjoy PC gaming, as you can probably tell. And again, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. This is your host Ben on the Lover of Tech channel, LOT Reviews, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.